Copper Sun by Sharon Draper, Chapter 11, Land Ho. Many of the sails and several of the mast poles had been damaged in the storm. Crew members scurried about making repairs. If she listened carefully, Amari could figure out bits and pieces of the conversation between the captain and his crew. Can you tell what they say? Afi asked Amari. Not exactly, Amari whispered back, but they seem to be worried that the ship is damaged. That I can see, Afi said with a chuckle. Perhaps destruction is the only thing these barbarians understand. They are headed to something called Carolina, Amari told Afi later that day. What do you think that means for us? It means that place is where your destiny lies, my child, Afi said with assurance. And yours as well, Amari added, almost as a question. Afi gazed out upon the ocean. Afi, your destiny is with me, is it not? Amari pleaded desperately. Afi did not look at Amari. When I have an answer for you, I will tell you, she said finally. Amari stopped asking, but her heart was heavy. For the next few days, the slaves were treated a little differently. The men were brought up on deck more often and allowed to stay for longer periods. They all started receiving larger food portions and generous rations of water. The ship's doctor checked each one of them carefully, applying salves to their many wounds and giving medicine to those who appeared to be sickly. The sailors were no longer allowed to molest the women at night. All activity seemed to indicate the end of their journey. Crates and cartons were packed, sails were sewn and repaired, and sailors whistled as they shaved their beards. The sailors seemed to be excited to return to their own women, Afi said bitterly as she and Amari sat quietly on the deck watching the activity. What will happen when we arrive in their land? Amari asked. We will be sold once more, perhaps many times. We no longer belong to ourselves, Amari. What do you think it is like there? The same sun shines upon their land. The moon and the stars glow each night. Trees grow green and tall in the sunlight, but I have a feeling it will be as different from our land as life is from death. I'm afraid, Afi, Amari admitted. So am I, child, so am I. Amari had very little time to worry about the future, however, for she heard Bill, the red-headed sailor, who was working on the tallest sail of the ship, suddenly shout, "Land ho!" She wasn't sure what the words meant, but by the loud, boisterous reactions of the sailors who whooped in celebration, she knew it could mean only one thing. This part of the journey was almost over. Amari could see seabirds flying overhead, and she looked with the rest of the women at the faint hint of green in the distance. She did not share in the joy of the sailors, however. Amari was overcome by fear.